Mobile journalism, Mojo, is taking newsrooms across the world by storm. Now, the advent of smartphones and tablets are redefining that we as journalists gather, process and distribute news. Now, it's for this very same reason that more than 700 journalists from across the globe met in Dublin in Ireland recently to discuss mobile journalism, or Mojo.
The world-famous Aviva Stadium. Normally the scene of big rugby matches, it was recently used as the venue for the biggest mobile journalism conference in the world. It was hosted by Irish TV and radio, RTE. Mojo is the use of smartphones and tablets to gather, edit and distribute news. It's a fairly new concept in most newsrooms. Its evolution can be traced back to 2005, and some journalists are loving it.
It makes things easier and more accessible, so the stories are easier to tell. It's easier to take pictures, it's easier to take videos, and since it's not, phones are not as heavy as DSLRs and stuff, you just get them from your pocket and you can do it. And people are not afraid of them. So
it's not intrusive.
Not intrusive, not intimidating.
A range of products are flooding the market, and software developers and designers are constantly coming up with mobile journalism solutions.
The helium core was the fact that I was a professional videographer and photographer. But when I travel for personal trips or casual trips, I found that I was lugging my heavy equipment around with me, and I ended up using the iPhone. And I wanted to create something that would allow me to swap lenses, add lights, add accessories very easily.
I'm going to have a pit stop at the start of the river. We'll walk along.
Journalists were assigned stories in the vicinity of the stadium. Practical way to test and refine their Mojo skills. And as for the old school newsroom, the reality is that the modern viewer is more sophisticated.
The problem is people are slowly stopping watching that box in the corner of the room because they're effectively able to get all that content on this. And they don't have to wait until the evening news at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to get it. They get it pretty much as it happens.
Journalists returned home much more inspired and ready to capture and tell stories the Mojo way. Janji Chauke, SABC News.
Now, the man of the moment is right here with us. Our senior SABC journalist, Janji Chauke, was one of the delegates in Ireland. He joins us now. Very good morning to you, Janji, and welcome.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Did you get your Mojo?
Yes, I always have my Mojo, man. I always have it.
Tell us about the conference. How did it go, and what were some of the outcomes from the conference?
Yes, it was the second time that the conference was being held in Ireland. It only started last year, and the idea behind the conference really is to encourage more journalists to try and use other technologies to gather, process and disseminate their news. As you know, for instance, in a broadcaster such as the SABC, we're still very much traditional. We still use our P2 cameras and all that. And mostly you find that journalists cannot go out on stories because all the cameras are actually out on other assignments. So if we've got a kit, a Mojo kit around, a journalist or a producer can pick up the kit and go and cover the stories.
So talk to me about this evolution of Mojo and how it happens, because you brought a couple of cameras here with you, or not actually cameras, the equipment that goes with it. Talk us through that and how does it operate?
Yes, basically mobile journalism first started as what we call solo journalism. Back in the day, we used to have journalists that will take their DSLRs or their cameras, they'll go somewhere in the world, do stories on their own. And then it evolved over time with the advent of smartphones, and there are also applications that are available on the market at the moment, such as editing, filming, as well as transmitting applications that you can use to capture the news, edit on site, and depending on broadband or the availability of Wi-Fi, you can be able to send your stories from anywhere in the world. For instance, 3 days ago when I was leaving Dublin to come back to South Africa, I was actually editing my package whilst I was traveling to the airport. In the bus, there's Wi-Fi. Fortunately enough, some countries are well developed. Everywhere you go, there's Wi-Fi. You go to the bathroom, there's Wi-Fi. You go to the shopping mall, there's Wi-Fi. So I was able to edit my package, and as soon as I arrived at the airport, as I was checking in, I was connecting to our FTP here in Johannesburg, and I was sending my package. So as I took off from Dublin, I was relaxed. I knew that my story at least is out there in Johannesburg. But what we have here, I started in Mojo using the iPad.
Yes.
This iPad of mine is about 3 years old. I bought some applications. Some of the applications are free. Some of them you can buy them as little as 24 Rand or 50 Rand, you know. I bought, this rig, I bought it in the US. I bought it online. It's about 3,000 Rand. It's called the Iographer. And then I also have the Lumi light here, the sun gun, what we normally call the sun gun, because you want to ensure that when you get your picture, the lighting is proper as well. And then, but I've since upgraded my latest toy that I've just bought. I call it the Beast Grip.
Yes.
This has always been a dream toy of mine that I've always wanted to get. I used to dream about it, you know. It's called the Beast Grip. It's also from the US. What I like about this grip is that you can use any phone for that matter. It's universal. It doesn't restrict you as the Iographer, where you can just use the iPad or the iPhone S Plus. Here you can use any phone, you can just adjust it, and I've got the Rode mic here, and I've got my mini tripod. But
is that adjustable? Can you?
No, I can mount it into a longer tripod, but which is light, because the idea about mobile journalism is that you have to be as light as possible. You can have your kit in one bag, in the other bag you've got your clothes, and you can go anywhere in the world.
Is that the size of it?
Don't be deceived. This is not a lunchbox from my wife. As most people
What is
know,
in that lunchbox?
I always carry a lunchbox.
Yes.
Well, I thought I'm doing mobile journalism, but when it comes to sound, I'm not going to compromise, because you can have the greatest picture, but if your sound is bad, you may as well delete those pictures. So I'm using the Sennheiser mics, which I can rig to my iPad or my Samsung, so that my sound is very crisp.
Yes.
Because my experience has been that previously I was using earphones, because with mobile journalism you can actually use your earphones as a microphone.
I tell you.
I was using, but the quality I was not that happy with it. So I've since upgraded by investing in a pair of Sennheiser microphones.
Well, that looks absolutely fantastic. But why does a public broadcaster like the SABC need to invest and go Mojo?
You know what? There's so much content that we're producing as the SABC, especially with now we're going on DTT. We're going to need a whole lot of content. And then the cameras that we have are not available. SABC every year, we're hiring new camera people, but the demand is still huge, you know.
Yes, yes.
There have been instances where the newsroom team have come to me, because I'm also an assignment editor, requesting a camera, and we find that all the cameras are out. So imagine a situation where the rig was available, you just give it to the producer to go and film. Anyone can actually film. You don't have to have...
Citizen journalism in the making.
It started as citizen journalism. We know with the Arab Spring, the revolution was on social media. They were tweeting it. They were broadcasting it live on social media. That's how it started. So here we are as a broadcaster. We must embrace mobile journalism.
Janji, thank you so much. And we'll hear a lot more from you around this issue about Mojo, that is mobile journalism. And you'll see a lot more about that here on this very same show, as well as on the other channels. So you have to stay tuned to your favorite channel. This is Channel 404 on SABC News. That's